You're listening to the Spicy Dividend.
Yeah, buddy, the market's rip-roaring today. Man, beep-bopping and scatting all over the place. They are pretty much setting records today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average finished, I'm recording this at 4:30 p.m., finished 7.56% up today, over 1,500 points in one day. S&P 500 up 1,600 points, up 6.72%. Unbelievable. Everything in my portfolio is up, and up pretty ridiculously today. Even silver, which is kind of supposed to be like a hedge against it, is up 4.46%. My 100 shares, I have a covered call with a strike of 14.50. I bought it at like 13.50. Just wanted to get the little bit of income there from the covered call. But man, the international is up 5%. The utilities select sectors up 7.7%. My main holding, DGRO, the iShares core dividend, up 6.79%. The REITs are up 7.4%. So, man, everything just rip-roaring today. And, let's talk about it, because the reason that it's rip-roaring is investors are starting to get a little optimistic, just that, finally some positive news is coming out. You look at New York, Andrew Cuomo saying, we quite possibly could have peaked. And, that's amazing. Obviously, it is way too early to call this. And I think that's a little bit why I'm worried today. But anyway, the death tolls in both Spain and Italy, although very high, the new death rates are going down, at least in the daily cases. Same for New York, same for the USA, period. When New York sees a decrease, obviously the entire United States is going to see a decrease, just because New York is almost half of all cases in the United States. So obviously they're going to play a big impact. Now, Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York didn't want to downplay the situation or get too high of hopes, pretty much saying that, look, like, we're operating in terms of the healthcare infrastructure, we're operating all the way revved up at 100%. We're at the red line, he liked to call it. Pretty much saying that it's not sustainable. We cannot stay at the red line, or else the system will blow, is what he said. And look, he's not wrong. How long can you keep this up where the healthcare in New York City is at maximum capacity with the help of external factors? And, it's kind of interesting, because on a day like yesterday, which was absolutely gorgeous outside, and today, absolutely beautiful, at least where I am in Bumblefuck, PA. It is 66 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, no wind. It is absolutely perfect out. Great golfing weather. If I was allowed to go, I would. But, is this the beginning of the seasonal killing of it? Could this be it? Everyone had the theory early on that, like, it might be seasonal, and once warmer weather comes kicking in, might we see a drastic decrease in the amount of cases? Is that what's happening, or are we finally getting better at the infrastructure, or were the numbers just so damn high that they were bound to go down a little bit eventually? But it's interesting, because if you look at like the past 2 weeks, it was extremely pessimistic for what's going to happen in terms of the healthcare upcoming, in terms of like the health statistics and the amount of impacted cases, serious condition, so on and so forth. Trump pretty much said last week that this week, he said next week, or this week that we're in right now, is going to be a really difficult week. And, we get one, and I mean one little tidbit of good news, if you even want to call it that good of news. It's just more neutral in a barrage of negative news. And all of a sudden, Trump's tweeting out, oh, light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, that tunnel is still over 300 miles long, and you're going in a shitty, beat-up Buick. Yeah, there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Even before this began, there was going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. We might be pumping the gas a little bit too hard on this optimism right now. I mean, 7% in one day. Did the news today really justify 7%? Or are we still in times of just great volatility, and any bit of news is going to sway it one way or the other? I mean, we're going to get horrible unemployment news coming out again this week. Most likely going to surpass the 6+ million that we saw last week. Any reversal in cases going up and deaths from the cases going up, or serious and critical illness going up, that's going to impact it greatly. I mean, you see Prime Minister Boris from the UK, he's in intensive care now. He's not getting any better. We'll see. I mean, it's really interesting. So, I mean, theoretically, this is why I'm a little bit more skeptic. New York and New Jersey are such a huge, and I mean huge portion of the amount of cases in the U.S. Let's say you eradicate, theoretically, let's just say by the end of this week, all the cases in New York and New Jersey go to zero. Do you think it's not going to spread throughout the rest of the United States? That's what I'm like a little bit confused about. Are you telling me the rest of the United States is essentially like they flattened it already? No, of course not. The cases are going to rise in other states. That's what makes it a little bit interesting. We're kind of like downplaying all the other states. If you look at the heat maps of where there's a lot of cases or there's little, you have the western, kind of Midwest in the Rocky Mountain range where it's like there's very little cases. You don't think it's going to spread there? Or they're just not testing as much as they are in major metropolitan areas. I mean, if you took a test in Denver, Colorado versus New York City, I mean, you're probably going to have it in both places. It's just you're more likely to get tested in New York City than you are in Denver, and so on and so forth. The more north you go, the less likely you are to get tested. But it's interesting. It's one of those days where it's like, look, if you're one of those people that are just in it for your 401k, you just celebrate a little bit, right? You got to take a little bit of, and I mean, look, the quarantine is getting a little bit on everyone's minds in terms of introvert or extrovert. It's driving a lot of people crazy, me included. It's just bonkers. I can't stand it anymore. My mental state is just depreciating every day. But at the same time, you get a day like yesterday and today where the weather is absolutely perfect and I can just go outside. And yeah, I can't socialize with anyone or anything. Not that I would anyway in this neighborhood, but I mean, if I'm walking around on a nice sidewalk that's deserted, in the sunshine, get some vitamin D in me, I'm just in much better of a mood. And it would be awesome if, the warmer weather just came and killed off this thing, or we finally find a successful treatment for it. I'm not even going to, the whole hydroxychloroquine thing, I'm not even going to comment on that. There's so many tinfoil hat conspiracy theories going on about Trump and Dr. Fauci, and you want to believe what you want to believe, okay? I mean, it all depends what social media you use, by the way. And by the way, I finally posted on Instagram for the first time in 3 months. Since, the portfolio is going, Instagram's just basically, if you're an investor, Instagram's just basically to show off your portfolio, how much it's making, how much dividends you're receiving, the total value, but so on and so forth. So, it's a bit demeaning when your portfolio goes from 51,000 and then 2 pictures later, it's 5,000. I mean, it's a little bit demoralizing. And, obviously it's going to have negative effects on me. And that's why I haven't posted in a while. But at the same time, you know what I learned is that the Instagram audience is a lot more accepting and nurturing than any other social media I've been on. Twitter's okay. Twitter, there's a lot of people that I love on Twitter, and there's a lot of people that I just can't stand. But the good thing about Twitter is you don't have to follow them. You can just mute them or whatever. And then YouTube is usually just like the toxic cesspool of just cult personalities, and they're going to follow who they want to follow, and they're going to ask a ton of questions and just comment on every video. I'm not saying my fans or anything, my followers. I'm saying the big dividend channels out there. You're going to have that group of people that has to get their word in on every single video, whether it's positive or negative. And it's just okay, I get it. You can be a fan without having to prove your fanliness to something. And I did have a rant about that, on Twitter last night, saying yeah, I derailed my YouTube career, but I didn't sell out and say oh, buy my book, buy my courses. Here's a T-shirt that says I love dividends. It's come on, give me a break. It's a joke. Just go on Teespring and make it yourself. If you want to support the authors on a YouTube or whatever, just click the ads, subscribe, like their videos, and click the ads. It's not that difficult. I mean, I don't know. I just hate, because no one that's going to really take the time on YouTube, unless it's their full-time gig and they're a certified accountant or a financial planner, financial analyst, financial advisor, they're in the consulting game or whatever like that. Unless they're full-time at it, no one on YouTube talking about dividends and stuff is going to be an expert. Give me a break. I mean, I've seen like people that are retiring off dividends on YouTube that are like 30 years old, that really doesn't make them an expert. Okay, you have no idea how much of that could have been luck versus actual skill, and how much skill really is there in dividend investing. Let's be real, it's one of the lowest skill related, how do you want to phrase it, there's not a lot of skill if you want to be a dividend investor. You can just go in dividend ETFs, go in total market ETFs, or you can just pick high quality dividend stocks. It's really not that hard. I could teach like a 10-year-old how to trade dividend stocks. Oh, you buy high quality and you don't sell. There you go. End of the story. I just, saved you from watching 300 YouTube videos of some guy telling you the same shit over and over. But, oh, it's a different ticker symbol today. Oh, let's analyze. Oh, let's look at the same metrics we always do because I can't open my horizon and, whatever. I don't know where this tangent came from. But, yeah, very positive day. I didn't buy anything personally, but I'm sticking to my guns and I'm depositing $30 every single day. I cashed out the small amount that I got from distributing my podcast from Anchor. It was about $10 for 2 weeks. So thank you very much for everyone who's listening. Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Podbean. If you're listening on YouTube, thank you very much. Always feel free to leave comments. Let me know what you're buying. Yeah, tomorrow should be a little bit more interesting. I'm expecting a little bit of a drop after a 7% gain. I think a lot of people are, but hey, you never know. It's funny, I wake up this morning and there's always like a little news snippet from Yahoo Finance whenever I open my phone. And this morning it was, we may have very well hit the bottom. I'm like, okay, so we already hit the bottom. And then at around 3 p.m. today, I got a notification saying the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 7%. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then like 2 minutes after I get that, it said, blah, blah, blah analyst believes this could be a bull trap. It's like, give me a break. It's like, obviously the analysts aren't going to agree in this kind of market. And, if you follow CNBC at all, like 99% of the people that are going on there are just like, oh, the questions are like, oh, what should I do in a time like this? And all of them, pretty much all of them are saying, just buy high quality stocks. It's going to be your Johnson & Johnson's, your Microsofts, yada, yada, yada. I don't have to give out the list of 5 that every dividend investor always gives out to the people. So hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the weekend and today. Most of the country is having beautiful weather. I hope you're out enjoying it. If you have good weather out by you, obviously social distance. Don't be an idiot. Don't be one of those people who thinks like, oh, God is watching over me. I do not have to worry about the virus. I have the blood of God on me. Shut the fuck up. Social distance, but enjoy it if you can. So this has been the Spicy Dividend with your host, Scott from DGen Dividends. See you later.